Democrats are banking on taking back power in 2018 with the midterm elections, but are they focusing on the right voters? Steve Phillips is the founder of Democracy in Color and author of Brown is the New White. He and I talked about this issue of the mid-year progress report when it comes to Democrats. I started the conversation by asking him what is the fundamental issue with Democrats and minority voters.
The problem is that people do not understand that the Democrats actually have the majority. They won by 3 million more votes than Trump got, and that the way to take back the House, the way to take back the country, is by getting more people of color out to vote. And so we're at Democracy of Color just released a mid-year progress report saying, are we making another billion-dollar blunder? In that we neglected the African-American vote in 2016. African-American vote fell precipitously below 2004 rates. And so,
which they should have understood with voter ID and voter suppression. I mean, because the point is this here. Anybody, I mean, I remember I was in a meeting and we were talking about black voter turnout, and they said, "Oh my goodness!" So it was a white female who said, "Oh, because Obama's not on the ballot, black voter turnout is going to go down." I said, "Stop." I said, black voter turnout has been on the increase every single presidential cycle. I said, Obama ain't gonna be the reason why it drops. And in fact, let me take that back. Obama was the reason why it dropped, because him winning in 2008 and winning in 2012 caused Republicans to say, we got to figure out how to suppress this vote, because if this thing keeps growing, we're going to get screwed. So he was the reason, but he wasn't the reason.
Right, and we went back to an all-white ticket. We had the opportunity to actually have a person of color on the ticket, and they chose not to go that route, and so that was a part of the piece. And then the independent groups, they first announced their outside spending in 2016. They announced $200 million in spending and had $0 for black voter mobilization. So it was taken for granted. And so they're now looking at 2017. All the time and attention and effort is about how do you change the minds of the Trump voters rather than how do you get the black voters who stayed home to come out.
Well, and what is amazing to me, when you talk about these independent groups, and this is where it's important. So, you know, we focus on the Democratic National Committee, but let's talk infrastructure. You have the DNC, you have the DSCC, which focuses on the re-election of people to the United States Senate. You have the DCCC, which focuses on the re-election or the election of folks to the U.S. House. You have the Democratic Governors Association. Then all of a sudden you then have not the super PACs. You have Emily's List. You have the environmental groups. You have the labor groups. The AFL-CIO completely got rid of their civil rights division. And so you go down the line, you have all of these entities. And so when we talk about the millions and billions being spent, it goes beyond just the party. It's all of these other pieces that go along with it. And frankly, they treat black folks and Latinos as if we're side pieces. And I call it political sharecropping.
Right, and so those groupings together will spend $750 million heading into the 2018 race. And so the reason that we're alarmed and are talking about is this another billion-dollar blunder is if you look at the Ossoff race in Georgia, they spent $18 million just on TV ads, and almost all those TV ads were targeted to the former Reagan, to the Trump voters. And so that kind of money could have paid for
$18 million on TV ads. What was their spending on black radio?
So they spent some, probably like under $1 million in terms of what they were doing on black radio. That money could have hired.
He lost by 5,000 votes.
Right.
And so
hundreds of people on the ground in the communities turning out black voters. 50 to 60,000 black voters we think were left on the table in that district.
I also tell people, when you look at Hillary Clinton's campaign, the bottom line is this here, one of the gravest mistakes, which people kept telling them, they hired white firm to handle national grassroots mobilization. They ignored, and in fact, I had Congresswoman Marcia Fudge who said to the Clinton campaign, oh, so y'all want to pay white staffers, but you want black folks to volunteer.
Right.
And she said point blank, you've got to put money on the ground to have folks working to turn out voters.
Right, yeah, and then if you look in Arizona, there's a organization, a network of Latino-focused organizations, One Arizona. They registered 150,000 voters in Arizona in 6 weeks. When the Clinton campaign came in, they spent $3 million on TV targeting white voters again. And so the blunder in 2016 was in targeting the wrong sector of voters, and the danger and the alarm that we're facing now, we're trying to put out in our report, Democracy in Color, is that we're replicating that blunder, still going after the wrong voters and not investing in the core voters who propelled us to victory with Obama.
And what are you asking the audience to do to make it happen?
So we want to shine a light on and hold accountable the Democratic Party entities. And so our report that we're coming out with is on our website, democracyincolor.com, is
another $1 billion blunder question mark.
Right, and so it's a mid-year progress report around how we're actually doing. And so we want to demand and request from the party leadership, those who are spending all this money, where are your plans and where's the data showing that you can change these people's minds? And let's have more transparency and accountability in how we're conducting our
So
politics.
what groups are you targeting? Let's see your report. So what groups are you targeting in terms of, so if we had to say, okay, fine, so right here, so this is what was 2016.
Right.
So if let's say, who are the groups? So we said, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to call each one of them, and we're going to have them come on this show to explain. So who are we talking about targeting?
The groups that you were talking about. So the DNC, DSCC, DCCC, Priorities USA, Next Gen Climate, those are the largest spenders on the Democratic, and the DGA as well.
So what are we talking about, 10, 12 groups?
It's probably fewer than that, 7 or 8.
Okay, so let's do this here. So let's push it to 10. So here's what we're going to do. So I want you to send me an email of the 10. And then what we're going to do is we're going to invite each one of them, because one, as I said before, I'm not waiting to 2018.
Right.
I want to push them in 2017. So what we'll do is we're going to invite each one of them onto this show. And we'll also, we may do it also as a part of our simulcast with the Tom Joyner Morning Show. And we want to put them on the spot and have them actually answer the question.
Right.
And see what the spending will be and what's the plan. I don't want to know, yeah, we're doing something. I don't want to hear something. I want to hear an actual real plan with some real numbers behind it.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're saying. The amount of lack of transparency and the amount of money they spend, it's amazing. In that, I mean, it's literally, it's in the $1 billion range, and it's a handful of people, and there's very little explanation, and there's very little justification. And it looks like it's still too driven by this obsession with the white swing voter.
All right, where can people at home read the report?
democracyincolor.com.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no.
That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false. You are wrong.
Unfiltered.
He wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out, because you got a fight on your hands.
NewsOne Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV One.